Welcome back. I'm Tyler, you're watching Scarfing Scarves, and welcome to the 71st installment of Last Week Lolita News. At the top of the segment, we have new pictures of AP's spring-summer releases. The bloodbath for Ice Cream Parlor has likely caused a blackout on the eastern seaboard. And my sympathies go out to those left in its wake, wishing you the best of luck in the US release or whatever institution they put you in after you cut a bitch to get your preferred colorway. I will end every last one of you to get my hands on pink and blue. What is that mint and brown colorway trying to prove? And those of you who like this circus tent disguised as a dress owe Frozen Dairy Treats a direct apology. Meanwhile, there is at least one pissed off seagull who has to concede that the cross-hatching on the socks is supposed to be waffle cone, not fishnets, a point they will likely go to their grave defending given that bird brains rarely progress past squawking out of their ass. I realize this is not newsworthy, but I found it funny at the time. This is my show, and what is an installment of LWLN if I don't make you suffer through my petty amusements? Turning towards a brand that has consistently been walloping AP's ass these past months without remorse. Metamorphosis' latest release of the elegant frill bolero and skirt comes in every color but Vanta Black, which is good because the license holder is a dick. And my irrelevant tangent aside, this release has been popular enough that several colors of the bolero have already sold out. I cannot even find a link to the skirt, the lack of which I presume to mean that this thing was more anticipated than the next season of Castlevania. I'll watch it when I'm prepared to sacrifice several days of my life to Netflix. Calm down, I swear I'll get to it eventually. Speaking of dead creatures walking, Victorian Maiden has released a wrinkle magnet by the name of Harvest Gauze. I actually think it's rather pretty for peasant chic. And in all sincerity, I'm sure this OP coordinates rather nicely if you have access to an iron, and barring that, an actual peasant to do your pressing so you can dress like a medieval yokel. The bitter rhetoric of a self-possessed sweet Lolita aside, Innocent World is holding a reservation for its Catherine OP. The delivery date is somewhat up in the air given certain global pandemics. They're hoping for late April to May 2020, and it's nice of them to release something that will match the N65 masks you've been hoarding. Might I recommend the black colorway to hide the blood when you get in a fist fight with your local Karen for the last of the Charmin triple ply. I swear to Zool, that's the last of my depressing topical humor. That about wraps up new releases, and turning towards social news, Facebook group Ruffle Chat saw the question, what happened to Behind the Bows on LiveJournal, and if its slow painful death means that Lolitas are losing their salt. The answer to which is who the fuck uses LiveJournal, and Lolitas are as salty as ever, case in point this show, several discords, and the entire Facebook community full of tag groups, private communities, and God knows what else in this realm of sodium and lace. What I'm saying is the only thing saltier than a can of Campbell's chicken noodle soup is a Lolita who just submitted an Amazon catastrophe to Sounds Like You Don't Know What Lolita Fashion actually is. All this is just verbosity, for Behind the Bows is a relic of a social media platform that no one uses. See MySpace, Friendster, and Google Plus as examples, the last of which can rest in the eternal pits of hell for the audacity of trying to force itself down our collective throats. The Lolita community has found new and inventive ways to see to its sodium needs, and so long as there is a scrap of EGL fashion to be found on this godforsaken planet, its members will continue in the cherished tradition of hurling entire canisters of Morton salt directly into people's faces. Speaking of hurling, a Marie Antoinette cosplayer found their way into and quickly out of Closet of Frills via deletion of their post. They were particularly offended to find out that a group for sharing Lolita cords did not lick the ground that they walked on, and their urge to promote their Instagram must have overtaken their common sense given that they returned once more, this time with the love child of Ronald McDonald and Elastigirl, promoting Bodyline as high quality and suggesting we all check them out to quote, discover your unique style. Now, this outfit looking like Emily Autumn fucked a candy cane aside, this is not Lolita, it was never Lolita, and one would think that that would be obvious enough at first glance, but again, we're dealing with a person who seems to think this three-tiered monstrosity is remotely EGL. Is it a really cool take on Marie Antoinette if she was a stripper? Yes! Does it remotely constitute the proper shape for goddamn Lolita? No, and her pretending that it was because she saw these images in the GLBs only furthers the point that she is talking entirely out of her ass. It's called the Gothic and Lolita Bibles. Not everything in there is going to be Lolita. Do not make me break out the panty shot goth thought, so help me, I will traumatize the lot of you. Also, tagging your stuff cosplay first and Lolita second is not helping your case. Go back to your Werbla and hot glue where you belong. Look, I know I'm being a tad scorched earth on this woman, but I swear to God, if she hadn't continued her shit fit after the second deletion, I might have calmed down. But she didn't, and in true whiny fashion, trotted out a sympathy post with two cords side by side, claiming she did, quote, serious Brando Lolita for years, the only evidence we have of which which is an apparently murdered hula hoop with a harness on top and the most plain Babby's First Lolita the world has ever seen. I hope she knows there's a middle ground between a single bracelet and Ronald's prodigal daughter. I'm not holding my breath. And the shebang came roughly to an end with her imparting quote, "You can't stop my love of Lolita and all the J-Fashion friends that have supported me." Because that's totally what people were trying to do when they told her that her cosplay that she marked as a cosplay was a cosplay. Next time, might I suggest working in a more ventilated area? It would appear the glue you're using has poisoned your brain. Which finally, as that about wraps up the week, I have no more patience for absurdity, and I think it's high time for a little bit of change around here. Welcome to Last Week Lolita News' next special segment. Except not, because I've hatched a diabolical scheme and I need you to help me carry it out. I'm speaking, of course, about this fracking background. You've been staring at the same one for 71 installments, and if this cockamamie plan succeeds, LWLN will be switching to a Newsdesk style format, complete with chair, new background, and surface to bang my fist against when the next malformed prevert rears their ugly head in one of our Facebook communities. This reporter has started a GoFundMe to support the cause. Anyone who donates will have their name read aloud by me on the first installment to use the new background. And anything we raise above $500 will go to a new light kit, given that the current one is blue enough to require immediate Heimlich maneuver. See you all hopefully on the other side of a desk soon enough. Link to the background/Newsdesk fund below. This has been Tyler. You've been watching Scarfing Scarves. And before you jump to your various communities to complain, I'd like to thank my patrons for offering a multitude of suggestions as to said background. Your feedback has been immensely invaluable, and should you like to have your voice added to the discussion of what we're doing with the new set, you can head over to patreon.com/lastweeklolitanews to join in the chat. This is likely the first productive thing ever discussed. Thanks again, guys, and I'll catch you next time.